If you're a B2C entrepreneur out there and looking for automation, looking for AI to help you scale your business and improve your conversion rates, you're in luck. Because if you're like me, waiting for the perfect B2C video to drop, it's dropping right now. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step, how do you take your leads from Meta or Google, move them from cold leads to warm leads, move them from warm leads to hot customers, and improve conversion rates by using AI to personalize every bit of outreach and messaging so they feel heard, they feel ready, they feel nurtured at higher speed across different channels. So let's get started. This video, we need 3 tools. We're going to be using Meta Ads. That's step 1. Step 2 is we're going to be using ScoreApp. I've done a whole video of how to set up ScoreApp. It's one of my favorite tools out there today. So ScoreApp is an assessment tool, and with dynamic results, you can really start personalizing. But if you add AI on top, it adds fuel to personalization at a whole new scale. And for that, I'm going to use Zapier because I find Zapier to be pretty easy to get going. But if you're into NA10 or into Make, you can use the same workflows there too. I'm going to use Zapier for this video, but if you really want me to build out a live build, doing this on NA10, which I'm familiar with, or Make.com, I'm happy to do it. So in that case, comment below in the video, NA10 or Make, and I'll do it for you. Okay, so let's get started. So what I've done is I've set up a little test here last few days, which has been running, and I'm calling it. So basically, we're spending $25 a day, and we're getting $2. It costs us $2.53 to get a lead, so roughly 8 to 10 leads a day. And what we're driving traffic to an assessment, and this is where the first part of the process starts. But before I get into the assessment itself, I think it's important that you set up the campaign right. We have set it up as a lead campaign and not as an awareness campaign. There are lots of videos on YouTube on the differences, so I'm not going to go into that detail. But I find lead campaigns perform better when it comes to this strategy because you want to have you want Meta to optimize for leads for people that have a higher intent of doing, getting to the goal that you set up, and which is in our first case, doing the assessment. And then the second step after that is obviously for them to engage more with you, spend time with you, and maybe start paying you, right? So you really want to optimize for quality. I've also done another video where I talk about how in one of my businesses we decided to go away from volume to just quality. So because of that, our cost per results are much higher, but we get much higher quality leads. Okay, so I'm going to leave that out. I assume you guys know how to do Meta. Otherwise, there are tons of videos on YouTube. But the way we have set it up, which I'm just going to show you, is we have just one campaign for this test. Obviously, you can A/B test and do as much as you like. And then if you come into the ads, I think I've set up a few ads here. And in these ads, you can see that all of them are going towards a website, and they are focused on lead generation. And I've really capped my cost per lead at $2.25. And this is a calculation you need to make based on your unit economics. Okay, so the very simple, straightforward Meta campaign. We use Advantage Plus because it does a much better job. All right. So the whole campaign is focused on problem definition, so problem awareness, and teaching people or helping people understand that at the problem awareness stage that we could help them shed light on what solutions they could have. So in this case, our ad is about struggling to keep up in workout. During your workouts, your breath might be to blame, right? So it's more focused on, it's not about endurance or stamina, it's about how you breathe. So that's sort of the angle we're coming at. There are different angles here that we're trying. So anyway, so you set up your campaign, and the campaign comes here. So this is built on ScoreApp. ScoreApp is a wonderful, wonderful tool. Let me just show you the back end of it. So I set it up on Thursday so I could show you guys. Yeah, I could basically show you this little demo that I'm doing. So in ScoreApp, again, as I mentioned, you have a whole build out there somewhere in my YouTube. So I'll link it up here. So you have landing pages, you have questions and result pages. I don't use PDF reports. I think it's the next plan, the highest plan, I believe. I'm in the middle plan, which works out for me. So the landing pages, you can create different landing pages. You can A/B test it. You could do questions, which basically is what I would say is 90% of the job here, because you really want to create questions that give you enough insight, give your AI enough insight, which is the next step. So they understand the type of people that are coming here. They understand the desired outcome that they want to have. And most importantly, they understand what are the challenges, that is, what are the blockers they have that is blocking them from getting to their outcome, right? So this assessment does a wonderful job of capturing that data. You can see I've A/B tested like assessments that are 30 questions, because again, I'd rather have higher quality leads, but obviously you don't want to create too much of a friction. You want to create Goldilocks friction. So in this case, for Breathworks, we found out that after some A/B testing, this sort of is a pretty decent number of questions to have. All right. So, and then here is, I think, the important part. So here we have categories, and this is where I have something called the Cinderella question. The Cinderella question is basically to qualify if somebody is ready to engage with you and spend money. you want to ask questions that sort of give you signals on where they are. So we have Cinderella questions, which is urgency of help and budget. And then we have the breath score, which is really what we're advertising, saying get your breath score to see if your breathing is an issue that is making you gas out, right? So what we do is that every question has a score over here, and you can set up different scores, right? So in this question doesn't need a score, but let me show you. So if you found the right solution, how much should you invest? This is like a perfect Cinderella question, and I have the scores on the budget here, depending on how much they want to invest. The coaching program we run, that's $1,000. So yeah, we want customers to take this, right? So if they take that, then immediately you can engage with that lead, right? So this is ScoreApp. I really recommend you to use ScoreApp because it's easy to use, it's affordable, and it does the job. It's very stable. And the third thing is the result page. The result page is where you can have dynamic results. So here you can show different blocks. You can build blocks by adding a plus here, and you have lots of templates to pick from. And here you can see that based on how they answer the budget question. So if they have low budget, so I get them to the 5-day challenge. If they have, let's see, if they have orange zone, which is the medium budget, I take them to my WhatsApp group because they're not ready to pay yet. But if they have green zone, then I send them the coaching spot program. Very few, probably 1% in our database buy this directly. So I'm not aiming for this, but if somebody has high budget and they see it one time, it's good to sort of get frequency. But I think the magic happens in the next step. So I'd really recommend, as I mentioned, to do the result pages right, because this sort of primes people to understand what you stand for. So you've taken them from sort of problem awareness closer to solution awareness, and you've given them a world of solutions, and where one of them is you, obviously. So this result page sort of gives them that map. And once they've gotten that map, they know how to position you compared to the options they have. So it plays a very important role, I believe, in positioning your brand and positioning your message right if you do the results page as well, because they understand where are you in their solution universe, right? And if they are ready to engage. So setting up the questions, getting the Cinderella questions right, and really focusing on asking questions that your AI, which I'm going to show you in the next step, can really use to craft personalized messages is going to be key. Okay, so once you do that, the third step from here is I just copied one of the zaps we've done, and let's go do this together. So I'm doing this in Zapier, but as I mentioned, if you want me to build this out in N8N or in Make, comment, and I'll try to do a live build with you. So here, ScoreApp has a sort of a module, and you can take a trigger event that is quiz finished, and then if you click on continue, you can set up your. So let's say I'm taking the scorecard here, and then you can test your trigger. Obviously, it gives you records of people that have finished the scorecard. So let's take this person. They're finished. So let's continue. And then here, what I've done in this case, but obviously you can build it up in different ways, is I used the filter module, and I really want to start by having people that have the high budget, okay? Because those are the people that are the hottest leads that are ready to engage. But when you do a cold campaign on Meta, you'll realize that 95, depending on the niche, 90 to 95% of people are not warm, and they're not hot, they're warm leads. So they've gotten their name, they've gotten their email, and doing an assessment moves them really to like the warmer part of the warm leads category, because you really understand a lot more about them than if you just got their email on instant form on Meta, for instance, where you just have their name and email and date of birth or something, but it doesn't tell you what their outcome, what their dream outcome is. It doesn't tell you what their problems are and so on. So this again, the assessment does a pretty good job of moving people to the warmer category. But my experience is that 90 to 95% of leads that come in from Meta to your assessment, that finish the assessment, are still warm. They're not hot. Most of them don't have a budget. So you need to really nurture and get it out of them. So, but in case somebody says they have a high budget, you want to act pretty fast. And as Alex Harmozy says, if you really can close a lead that comes in within the first day, like they say they have money today and they're ready to spend it today. If you can close it today, your show up rates are higher. If you have meeting funnels, your closing rates are much higher, like 300, 400% higher, right? So what I do is, as soon as I know somebody has a high budget, I want that to trigger something, right? So here you can set up you can set up a filter that says if the person has high budget, so you can take the budget score, which you set up in the categories in I always take the percentage or the denominator. You can decide whichever. And then you say, for this example, I'm just going to say 35. And then the budget score is greater than 35. Then you want the filter to proceed. So this person would have proceeded. You can obviously create an and here. And you can say, I just don't want the budget score, but I also want the urgency score, because you want somebody that has the money but also feels the need, right? So you can take the urgency of help, and if it's greater than, I'm just making something up here, let's see, greater than 40, then you can also make it an OR rule. So let's see if it continues. No, it wouldn't have continued. So that person doesn't have that much urgency. They have the budget, but they don't have the urgency. So let's make it 20. Let's see what happens. Okay, all right. So let's test it out. Continue. Now, so since I want to show you how this is going to work, I'm just going to take the budget score. But again, you can build it up as you like over here. So this is where I think it gets really exciting because you can take the data from ScoreApp and put it into ChatGPT and really start writing personalized emails. So here you can take configure. In this case, I've done some pre-work here, but basically you can take any of the data that you have from your ScoreApp, from the answers, which I'll show you in a second. So you click on the plus over here, you click on quiz finished, and then let's say you want to search for their answer on, you have all their answers here, right? So let's see, you currently compete or have a competition coming up, not, so we can give the AI a prompt saying competition signed up, right? So it understands what the data is. Um, and then you can say, let's see, so I'm going to remove all that. Then what's your biggest breathing related challenge? Breathwork challenge, right? Breathing challenge. So this is the problem they have. What's the outcome? What's a primary athletic discipline? Primary sport, right? So I'm using my wife's Mac here. I'm not used to this keyboard. Primary sport. All right. And then if you look at how often do you experience breathlessness, so it's like frequency of issue, right? And so on. So you can take literally take all the answers and give it to the AI, right? And then you can, let's go to the next step here. So here you're inspiring breathwork coach, um, writing highly personalized emails to people based on that. I did this for my other business, which is Moonrise. So let me customize this for breathwork. So it'll be, you're an inspiring breathwork coach, writing highly personalized emails to people based on their assessment, get them excited, give them new knowledge, get them excited about their outcome, give them new knowledge, and help them find clarity, right? Because that's really what you're trying to do when you're in the middle of the funnel, right? And then you basically want to create some kind of a template. And here I suggest you use ChatGPT to come up with a template that you can add. And again, what I've done over here is I've given some more prompting with answers. So you can take again the quiz answers and put them here. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to do that and I'm going to come back. So what I've done is in ChatGPT, I've given it a prompt that's give me an email template or two, give me two, or maybe I should make it clearer, give me 2 email templates. Prompt my AI in Zapier to really write inspiring, punchy emails to leads that have completed my breadth score assessment, and I want to nurture them further. Always have a sense of urgency, FOMO about our coaching program without being too pushy, provide value. Here is more info on our coaching program, right? Because remember, you're writing this to high budget people, so you want them to sort of feel, that we have something for them based on what they've given us. So now let ChatGPT do the work, and then you can see that, yeah, you can take this. What I've done is I've not used a subject line because I'll show you why. I've created a standard subject line which I've tested. So I suggest you start with one subject line, which I'll show you where to add. And if that works, if that doesn't work, or if you want to try a new subject line, try that for another 3 days or 5 days or whatever, and see which one has a better open rate, and then standardize that subject line for a while, because the subject line is what we use to create follow-ups in Zapier. So here, let's see, let's unlock it, breathe strong. Okay, we'll take this. I'm not extremely happy with that result, but it's fine for now, for this demo. So I'm going to take this here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to now map it with the fields. So it's going to be, here is an example email template, obviously, or use it based on context of their answer. The goal is to be as personalized as possible. Perfect. So we've taken the questions, right? And the answers, dream outcome, anxiety, yes or no, right? So the AI understands. So now, yeah, the prompt is pretty good. Let's test it. So we'll retest the step. So what it's doing, it's basically taking the prompt, taking the data for this particular test in this case. And as you get new data, it keeps getting updated automatically. So you just have to do it once and it's done. And as you can see, there are further steps of how to send an email. I'm just using Gmail. You can use any CRM and I'll show you how to connect it. and then there's some kind of a follow-up. I've just done one follow-up, but obviously you can do as many follow-ups as you like. All right, so ChatGPT just outputted something. Let's look at the data. Okay, so it's pretty small. Sorry for that. Zapier can maybe make the UI a little better here. So there's a lot of tokens that was used. So maybe you should improve the prompt better. So, okay. Hey G, I see you've got your bet score, and while the score of 4 indicates you've got some work ahead, it's just the starting line. It's completely understandable to feel like you never get enough air, which is what he said. Many athletes face this challenge. The good news is that we can transform this into a competitive edge. Pretty good. With you being a cyclist, which is what he said, focusing on your breathing doesn't just enhance your performance, it optimizes your entire experience on the bike. Shifting from mouth to nose breathing can be a game changer for endurance. It's exciting that you're interested in learning more about, because that's what he said in one of the questions is, are you interested in learning more? And he said he is. Imagine reducing fatigue and boosting your resilience, which was his which was the challenges he had. So the AI has really converted that into not an obstacle, but a positive thing. By incorporating the right breathing tech strategies, you can enhance blah blah blah. This were a summit coaching program. Beautiful, beautiful segue. With tailored video plans, one-on-one support. But here's the catch: when you take full handful at a time, perfect, great FOMO, breathe strong, perfect PS. Ah, this is fantastic. So, and then unlock your breathing potential, G. Oh, fantastic subject line as well. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and now here you can click on plus and you can search for your CRM. For instance, we use Brevo. So with Brevo, you can send emails, but you can't set up automations, but you can send emails. For instance, if you have ActiveCampaign, I believe you can do lots more because they're much more integrated. So let's look at what ActiveCampaign offers. So here you can see create campaign, create a deal. So that's another way to look at it, right? You can create a deal, add the text in an Airtable database or in your CRM or wherever, and then your salesperson can send it, right? That's another way to think about it, or you can put it in an automation. So anyway, so you have different tools over here. I'm just for this demo, I'm just using Gmail because that works for us. Because you just want to get the conversation started. And again, since we're setting a high ticket coaching program, there's no point in trying to automate the whole thing. We just want them to get ready, and then the next step is either get on a call, right, or join a group call, or they're ready to purchase, right? So and that happens via email. So that's where the human element comes in. So what I've done is that I've just used Gmail. And here you can literally, add all the fields. Who do you want to send it to? Which is the email from the first step. You can BCC yourself. You can create a nice from name. You can connect your email, and then you can create a subject line. Right. So I think we should keep the same subject line, because what we're going to do here is here we're going to check if the person has replied. And to know if that person has replied, it's good to have the same subject line, because the email goes in searches based on that subject line. And if they see a from, which is not you, or if the Zap sees a from that is not you, then it knows that that person has not replied, and then they can follow up again, right? So you just add the full response here. So literally you take plus, and you click on this, and you just take on full response. So another way is to remove the subject line, right? So in the prompting, I'd probably say in output without the subject line. So here under configure, you could come all the way down, and you can say output without the subject line. No subject line needed in the output, just the body text. Okay. And this way, if you retest step again, it's going to take a few tokens, but what the hell? And if you retest again, you'll see that you'll get only the body, and you can literally take the body, put it in the email, and you can decide if you want to have that as a draft, as I said, or if you just want to send it. Okay. So I'll see that. Let's check that step. Now, what I've done is then I've added a delay. Or let me show you the configure module over here. So here you take the data and you put that in here, and then you click on continue. You can test it, which I'm not going to do because I'm not sure if this person wants that email, because their urgency score was low. Anyway, and then let's go into delay. So delay is literally again a module you can pick from Zapier. So you have the delay module, and here I've set a delay for 2 days. You can again set it for as much as you like. And once you set a delay, which is again configured here, then you can come to your email, and this is the find email step, depending on again the CRM you plan to use, or the logic you plan to use. So in my case, the find email basically goes after the subject, right? So search string is the subject, and then if it says that there is no email that is found, you have two options. if no search result is found, should I run the search? Should I continue or should I skip, right? In this case, we should continue because you want the follow-up to happen. So then you continue, right? You can also obviously send an email directly over here, but we want to have two options. If the person has replied, you don't want them to get another email that feels automated, right? So what I've done is then created a splitter. If they've replied, I've just updated the Bravo contact, which is our CRM, saying to my sales team that they should follow up, and they see the whole conversation there. Um, on the other hand, if they have not replied, what you can do is to say you have to check again in this case of the no reply, if the from email only contains your email, right? So in this case, if the reply was not available, the last email that this Zapier would find is the email that you sent in this step, right? So the email that you sent had the subject line and it was sent from your email. And if the person didn't reply, that was the last email in that subject line, right? When it searches for that subject line. But if that person had replied, then the last email, the latest email, would contain their email and not your email. So that's the filter we use. So if the from email is just your email, it means that the person has not replied. So it was your email that you sent in step 4. That was the last email with that subject line. If it had their email, that would not be the last email. And in that case, you can again do the same thing, configure and send a follow-up. Okay. So here you have it, guys. Very simple automation to go from cold leads to hot customers that you can engage with. We can go deeper. You can keep building here, building out Zapiers or building it out in N8N and create much more custom workflows. I'm not going into those details because I believe that if you're doing automation on this scale with B2C, you really want to test it because you don't want the messages to be completely irrelevant. So the way I'm starting out is to do 2 messages, as you can see. And if that works out, I'm happy to build out further. So that's where I would start if I was you. So if you like this video, please comment what you'd like to see. If you'd like me to build more workflows with you live, happy to do that. I'm mostly interested in sales related workflows, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. But until I see you in the next video, keep automating and keep enjoying. Take care.